Hello friends, in the next few lessons we will learn about the process of using filters inside of Photoshop. Open this project file. Okay. Filters help us to apply some really neat effects to the overall image. Now if we go to this filter menu, there are lots and lots of different filters to be found here. Under each category there are few more filters. There is no way that we can talk about all of these in this course, but I will show you the basic process of working with and apply some filters and what all you can do with them. Let's start with the very basic one, a basic blur. It has applied a tiny bit of blur to our image, almost unnoticeable. Let's hit Ctrl Z and go to blur more. If you zoom in and hit Ctrl Z a few times, you can see the difference. Let's undo. Now some of these options have some settings and sliders to give us some control. Let's select this Gaussian blur. This has got this slider to adjust the blur, like so. The Gaussian blur is probably one of the cleanest and strongest blur inside of Photoshop. Click OK and we have got this blur on our image. But one thing to keep in mind is that most of the blur are destructive blur. It means we can't turn them back at a later stage unless we have enough undos to get back. So, in one of the later lessons, I will show you the smart filters, which are a much better way to work with. But for now, we are learning the basic process of using a filter. Let's again go to the filter menu. Here you can see that Photoshop can remember the last filter, and it has the keyboard shortcut for the last filter, Ctrl F. To apply the same filter again, if we hit Ctrl F, that Gaussian blur is again applied to our image, and it does not even open that dialog box. It has used the exact same settings that we used previously. So you can select any of the filters, make some settings and apply them to give some nice effects to our images. I suggest you to go ahead and explore these options under the filter menu, and you will get a better understanding of what all can be done with some of these. Now open this file and let's have a look at these new additions to Photoshop CS6. These three, field blur, iris blur and tilt shift, comprise of the blur gallery. If we click on any of this, we can get access to the blur gallery. Click on field blur, it opens this new menu here. Now all these blurs, field blur, iris blur and tilt shift, work in a similar way, but the result is a little bit different. Let's start with the field blur. The way these blurs work is by dropping in some sort of a focus point. We can take this focus point and drop it anywhere, like so. This ring enables us to control the amount of blur we need. If we drag it back, the amount of blur is reduced. If we drag it all the way up, for a complete blur. Now with just one pin dropped in there, it doesn't look that spectacular. It becomes powerful when we add some more pins in here. Let's leave this one here and drop another pin over here. Let's adjust the amount of blur. Let's add one more here. Adjust the amount of blur. So we have full control over all these areas. The beauty is that we can drop as many pins as we want. So if we want this area to be in focus, drop a pin and reduce the blur. you can see that we have really high level of control at exactly which areas are going to be in focus and which areas are going to be blurry. This blur effect would have been almost impossible to do in previous versions of Photoshop. To delete a focus point, just click and select it, hit delete on your keyboard. Let's now turn the field blur off and talk about the iris blur. Let's expand this iris blur. With iris blur, we get the same setup but with a few additional controls. Now this is again the area of focus. We can adjust it like so. This one is keeping this area into focus and blurring the area outside. With this outer ring, we can adjust the area of focus like so, or we can rotate it. Now these inner dots control the transition between the blur from outer circle to inner circle. You can see the transition. We can move it in or we can move it out for a rapid blur. The area between the blur and the focus is very sharp. We can also grow or shrink this area as a whole like so, or with these individual controls like so. This one will also rotate it if we want. Now this square will change the shape of this area. It can convert it into a square like shape or back to sphere. Just like field blur, we can add multiple focal points. If we click here, we can add one more point and adjust it like so. Let's turn this off and look at the tilt shift. This also has this similar control to adjust the amount of blur. Now this one has these two sets of lines above and below. This one is really good for creating depth of field. We can grab these lines, the upper ones and the lower ones, and move them up or down. This first line determines where the blur is going to start. So this is where we have some nice sharp pixels and then they start to blur. If I increase the amount of blur, you can see the transition between the sharp pixels and the move it down a bit to see the effect. Yes, these are the sharp pixels and gradually they are getting blurred. Now as we start to collapse these together, we get a rapid blur. I'll move it up again. Same exact controls below to move it down or to collapse them for a sharp blur, or move it down for a gradual blur. We also have these rotation controls. One thing to keep in mind that these anchor points will let the area grow or shrink but will also rotate. If you do not want to rotate them and want to just grow or shrink, just drag them along these lines. I'll rotate it. Once we are done with our settings, we can hit this button to remove all the pins, or we can hit OK, and there we go. We have little bit of this dramatic kind of depth of field here, and these center areas are in focus. So these new blurring features are really useful. That was a quick look at the blur gallery to achieve that kind of blurring results. That's all for this lesson, friends. See you in the next lesson.